Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto channel. Come in to grab you real quick. Come in to get my scan tool. Actually, I've got this old Saturn out there in the parking lot, like an 02, I think it is. Little sedan. Looks like she's been through the ringer. The guy brought it in because the exhaust is loud and he wanted the snow tires put on the front. And the other thing he said is brakes chatter when he's coming up to a stop. Well, I just assumed we were talking, pads, rotors, that type of thing. But something totally different. This ABS pump in this thing's kicking on, even at like 30 miles an hour, right up to the point you stop. So come in to grab the scan tool, figure to grab the camera. We'll take this thing for a ride and see what the heck is going on here. All right, so we're in this beast. Just put the VIN in. It's a 02 Saturn S series with a 1.9. What we'll do is we'll go and this automatic. We'll pull up the ABS data here because I'm certain the pump is running when I'm coming up to a stop. First thing we'll do is just real quick check for codes. No current codes. Couple canned codes in there in the history, so we're not so worried about those. What I'll do is we'll get up a data stream here, have a look at that while we take it for a drive and see what the heck is going on. Hopefully we can deal with this glare a little bit. But we've got right front wheel. Oops. Have to pull back up for us there. Let's see, we've got right front wheel, right rear wheel, left front, and left rear. So hopefully we can see that through the glare. It doesn't take long. We ain't got to go far to make this happen. On right there. Okay, everything. That right front looks a little tricky. You guys can hear the pump, but it's on right now. Yeah, pump's on again. Down this road here. Look at all the dropouts and glitches in those. These are both the front sensors, right front and left front. Of course, with the scan data, we're not going to be picking up glitches like we will with a scope. But, just comparatively speaking to the rear, totally night and day difference here. Pumps on right now. I just changed the data pins a little bit in case you guys can't hear this, but you'll be able to see when the pump kicks on and whether or not the ABS is active. Yeah, you can see right now it's on. Well, that's pretty interesting. We don't have a sensor dropping right out, so to speak. That's why we're not getting any ABS light on the dash. So as far as the car knows or is concerned, this thing is just skidding a wheel, I guess you would say. Or has a slight lockup, I guess not a full skid, a wheel speed variation. How's that? Definitely got some dropouts going on there. You can see them pretty clear just on the scan data. Makes it kind of difficult to bring this thing to a stop. It's always been my habit to kind of just visual inspection without touching anything. How's that? And what I mean by that is, you know, we'll look at this back here, you know, we're not having a problem in the rear, but just kind of come back, identify the components that you're working with, but don't touch anything, because particularly, let's say we're having a problem with this wheel, you don't want to go up there and start wiggling the connector and all of a sudden you don't have the problem. But just kind of come back here, you know, I just kind of give everything a quick once over, identify what we're dealing with. So we can see we've got this on the left front, wheel speed sensor. We've got an external tone ring, so we'd look at that, see if it's, there you go. See if it's cracked, see if it's jammed full of mud. But that is our problem on the left front wheel. That tone ring is obviously broken right there. So that is why we're getting this excessive wheel variation. So we'll come over here to the passenger side. You know, same setup. And there you go. There's your problem on this side. So visual inspection, didn't even have to break out the scope, do any kind of testing, any of that stuff. We can automatically assume that the wiring is good, the wheel speed sensor is good, based on symptoms and just a quick visual inspection. That's going to give us our false ABS activation, because the signal going to the PCM or going to the EBCM, the brake control module, it's just going to look like, you know, a temporary wheel, you know, lockup or wheel slide. So it's going to just take appropriate action, which, you know, in this case is kind of unwanted. But now we have to call the customer and see what he wants to do. I believe we can get these tone rings separate and just take this off, get rid of all the rust and pop a new one on. I don't know what he's going to want to do. It's kind of an older car and needs some exhaust work and amongst other things. Just because I know Ivan would be disappointed if I didn't do this, even though we know what's wrong because we can physically see it. I took and just back probed this connector, got it hooked up on our scope here. We're gonna take and spin the wheel, see if we can see the broken tone ring as this speed sensor tries to generate a signal. So this is what they would consider a permanent magnet AC pulse generator, and it will produce, you know, maybe up to 5 or 6 volts, something like that, and you'll see the signal change in amplitude and frequency as wheel speed changes. So we'll watch it right here on our scope and see what it looks like. So we got our scope set up, AC voltage. We're on a 10 volt scale, but being that we're going to go above and below the 0, I've just kind of set that in the middle of the screen. We're on 100 milliseconds across the screen. I'm going to take and we'll record. I'll spin the wheel as steady as I can here. Should be a good capture. So we'll stop this. And just looking at the really zoomed out portion of it, we can see all these glitches, which you can see, you know, each one of these big humps is probably when I was spinning it. So we'll kind of look at this at a little closer view here, see if we can find the anomaly. There's one right there. See how our pattern breaks up there. Keep going. You can see, kind of get a broader picture of this. Each time the wheel intensified, it just happens to be where this glitch ends up. So this is probably 1 rotation, you know, 2 rotations. You know, as my hand is going around, you can see the wheel slows down, then it increases. But we can take and have a look, just at, like I say, we'll just look at this anomaly and see if we can determine, just based on this, you know, what's happening here. And I think the easiest way to do that, we'll just bring out our cursors. We'll assume these are known goods. You know, so let's measure from the apex of one peak to the other. And the distance, the time basis between them is 13.74 milliseconds. We'll just kind of verify that with another one that's about the same frequency here. Yeah, 14.38. 14.38, course, this is going to be dictated by how fast I'm spinning the wheel. At 13.53. Then we come back here. We can just measure from this one. We'll call 13.5 our average, just roughly. Distance from peak to peak, 15.2. Peak to peak, 13.95. 13.11. So you kind of get the concept. So then we'll come here. Actually, yeah, we'll go around the peak of that one. We'll move this cursor out, let's say 13 milliseconds away from that hump. So that's 13.74 milliseconds. And you can see we're missing our hump. Should have been in that general area, and I can only assume that's where the brake is on the tone ring. Hope that makes sense. But best I can explain it to you. So I guess this is important. You say, why did you do this? This would be important. Let's say we couldn't see the tone ring, and this is sealed inside a hub assembly. Let's assume it still has the potential to break. Well, we can look at this. We can look at this waveform now. We can see this anomaly happening, and we can kind of understand why it's happening. Because this one we can see physically with our eyes, and then we can also see it electronically on the scope. We can see, wait a minute, something's not right here. Line up the cursors, measure. Well, we're missing a trigger for that sensor. Kind of giving it a false input. Even as the wheel is coasting down, you can still see it. So I think just for the sake of testing, let's take the broken piece, just kind of wave it in front of the sensor like that. That way it hits, kind of dead center at a steady speed, and see if we can pick up just the broken part of the tone ring on the scope. Let's record. So I move my trigger down because we're going to be barely moving this thing. I'm just going to move it back and forth. I just brought it back and forth across it just a couple times. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty definitive. So let's just kind of look at that first one. Yeah, and there it is. Oops. Backpack out here, find out where I am. And there it is. Just moving across just a couple teeth. Pretty clear as day if you ask me. See it there again. Yeah, pretty repetitive. So, all right, well, I think we beat this one to death, but kind of nice to get some known bad waveforms. I think known bad waveforms are just as valuable as known good waveforms, particularly in a situation like this when you can see the fault, duplicate it, see it on the scope. Unfortunately, I called the customer and no bueno on the repair. His exact words from me, he said, life existed before ABS and it'll exist now. He said he's going to yank his fuse and drive it. I can't make him fix it. That's what he wants to do, so be it. I guess I kind of don't blame him. It's an old Saturn. I don't know if it's his winter beater or what it is, but we're gonna fix the exhaust, throw snow tires on it, and ship it down the road. But good to collect some data while it was here. So I hope you guys liked the video and maybe understand a little bit more about wheel speed sensor testing, or how that's done, or what that looks like, when you have a broken tone ring, and the value that screen capture could be if you can't see the tone rings, and maybe understand a little better what you're looking at, or can kind of rationalize a little bit of it. So thanks for watching. Check us out on Facebook and Google Plus if you haven't subscribed to our channel, if you haven't done that yet either, and you want to stay up to date with the stuff we roll out each and every week. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.